I'm Waxela Sananda. Thank you for joining me. Today, I want to talk about your happiness glass ceiling. So, you might be familiar with the glass ceiling concept in business or in prosperity, where people will reach a certain income level or reach a certain amount of prosperity in their lives and hit that quote unquote proverbial glass ceiling, which means they have never been able to get through or past a certain level. And we have these glass ceilings for all different types of things in our lives. But I want to talk about the happiness glass ceiling. And especially as we're stepping into holiday season, there's a lot of sort of like this expectation of happiness. And then there's also this don't be too happy because a lot of people are suffering. A lot of people have lost people. The holidays bring a lot of people, a lot of stuff up for people. So there's also this alignment with suffering. And that is sort of like an indicator of where your glass ceiling is. So what this is about really is it's an invitation to look at where is your glass ceiling set? Are you allowing yourself to be truly happy, to be the embodiment of happiness, of joy, of even stepping into like blissful experiences, of ecstatic experiences? Are you allowing yourself to go there? And I feel like it is very important to make contact with these higher frequency emotional experiences. And the reason why it's so important is because as we're ascending in body. So embodied ascension, it's about raising the frequency of your body while you're embodied, while you have this body, right? And in order to really keep sort of climbing that ascension ladder, it's not about getting somewhere. Again, we're not leaving the body. This is about bringing up our ability to feel, to experience life, to interact, to love, to connect with others and the divine. That's what embodied ascension is all about. So if we're limiting ourselves and our ability to go too deeply into happiness or even too deeply into sadness, we're actually stopping the process. We're limiting our ascension process. And we're limiting the ability of our body to feel the full range of emotional frequencies that are available to us. Now, some of the reasons, like additional reasons to practice higher level and higher states of happiness, of joy, of love, of gratitude, these states, as we open up to them, as we expand into them, we're brushing into these higher frequency states, the bliss and rapture states. And if you allow yourself to bask and, just let yourself feel these higher frequency emotional states, you're actually attuning your nervous system to a higher frequency. And so when you have the opportunity to step into higher frequency or higher dimensional experiences embodied with your body, you will not get blown out. It's kind of like plugging into an electrical current that's stronger than what your body's used to. That can actually blow people out. And there can be kind of a fatigue or sort of like a hangover. I have a psychic friend who she used to call it, or we would both get psychic headaches. I used to do psychic readings many, many, many years ago as well. But we talked about the psychic headache. It was almost like a hangover from plugging into these higher frequency experiences, right? And so the more you do it, the more you practice, just like going to the gym and working with certain muscles, the more you do it, the more you practice, you can lift heavier weights. You can do it more efficiently. You can do it without as much struggle as you practice. It becomes easier and easier. Suddenly, if you've been lifting a 5-pound weight, you find yourself, oh, now I can lift 10. Now I can lift 15. Now I can lift 20. You keep working with those muscles and you keep increasing your ability to lift more weight. And the same is true in the realm of light work and embodied ascension. As you're allowing yourself to hold more light, you're expanding your frequency. You also must do the emotional work to go with it so that you can hold higher frequency emotional states. Another aspect of this that I don't want to overlook is that as you expand your ability to feel emotions, this is your embodiment, you're expanding the spectrum. So you're also going to feel low experience emotions as well. But here's the thing, you don't get stuck in them. So the more you practice this, it's just the act of tuning into super high emotional states is naturally going to bring up some of those shadow states, the lower frequency states, to be cleared. And if you watched my video last week, I talked all about clearing some of those shadow programs and why it's so important, and that the Earth's ascension, this is what's happening globally. We're clearing the shadow, but we can't hide from that, right? If we hide from it, we don't get the benefit of clearing it and embodying a higher state of consciousness, a higher frequency. And the same is true of the Earth. If these things don't come up to be cleared, then nothing gets to ascend on the planet, on the surface of the planet. We get to ascend too. We get to ascend our societies. We get to ascend our school systems. We get to ascend in all different kinds of ways, but most importantly, doing our personal work of clearing the shadow and stepping into higher levels of high frequency emotional states. So the more you do this and the more you practice this, you become less afraid of feeling ecstatic. Have you ever walked up to someone and or talked to a friend or something, or met someone new, and they're like, how are you? And you're in a really high space and you're like, I'm awesome, I'm doing so well, how are you? And they're like, ooh, like just kind of this, whether they show you that way or not, they kind of take a step back, like, that's too much for me, I'm not ready for that much intensity. I've had that experience my whole life with I kind of freak people out sometimes energetically. I've learned to be careful, approach carefully, because my intention is not to freak people out, right? But you might know what I'm talking about if you've done this. And then the same is true for, because emotional energy is contagious. So just by having a high frequency, you can actually walk into a room, and uplift everybody in that room as long as they're willing to be uplifted. But that upliftment might be out of their capacity or their range to feel emotions, or out of their comfortable feeling range. And it also might bring up shadow work, something that was in the way of them being able to feel that before. And so these are reasons why people might avoid feeling high frequency states, like I'm super joyful and happy, or, I'm ecstatic, or I'm just bubbling over with excitement today. So first of all, I want to give you permission to raise that glass ceiling on what you're willing, your happiness ceiling. I invite you to practice being happy, to practice when you find yourself kind of getting sucked into the negative thoughts, negative statements, like I don't have, or I'm not enough in any capacity, whatever way that might come up for you, just to recognize it and say, wait a minute, in this moment, I choose to be happy. And if that's true for you, if that's what you really do choose, just practice and see what happens, and also see what it brings up, because that will show you what's in the way of your happiness. So if you think, oh, I choose to be happy today, but then you immediately have this thought that's triggered, that's a sad memory, maybe of something from your childhood or something from a past relationship, that is showing you what you get to clear in order to have that happiness. It's a good thing, right? Because then you can clear it and let it go and step into your ability to feel more happiness and raise that ceiling on what you're able to feel and experience in your life. Just the fact that we have these bodies and we have access to emotional states. This is something to treasure and indulge in. We as society have this, it's like shutting off a light switch. There's this, I know we do this to children. Don't cry, don't scream, don't be too loud, don't shriek, even if they're shrieking in joy. Kids can be so loud, and adults will just, even totally unconsciously, just shut that down, shut that down, shut that down, shut that down, right? And so even just notice in your life, where are you shutting yourself down? Where have you been shut down? And where are you shutting others down? Because we tend to rehearse and continue to perpetuate that which we've been raised with, that which has been done to us, oftentimes totally subconsciously. So just to notice, okay, where am I shutting myself down first? And then where am I shutting other people down? And how can I just raise the ceiling on that and like start to enjoy and appreciate? First, notice, and then, release what comes up, let go of what comes up. And if you need help with that, in last week's video, I gave lots of resources to help with the shadow work process, the clearing process. And then stepping into this higher version of yourself, this higher version of your ability to feel, even just a tiny little increment at a time. Over time, over the course of 6 months, a year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, if you keep doing this, your ability to feel joy, happiness, love, it's going to be way up here. If it was previously down here, you're going to keep raising it, because those little incremental changes make you expand, cause expansion, cause transformation over time. They cause big leaps. And you also must be willing to face the shadow stuff that comes up too. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just part of the process. So this is never about spiritual bypassing or pretending that everything's great and wonderful and I'm happy when I'm not. It's about practicing being happy, practicing gratitude, practicing love, and then noticing, oh, what does that bring up? What does that make me feel really, and being honest about it, looking at that, excavating whatever's there, and then being willing to, to do the work, the shadow work, to let that go so that you can expand into an ascended, embodied version of yourself. All right, I will end there. I hope you're having a wonderful holiday season. I'm so happy that you tuned in. Please do like the video, give me a thumbs up if you found value in this, and subscribe to my channel for more. I put my the join link to my email list if you'd like to get emails from me and stay in touch that way. And I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are. Namaste.